March 1st, a new law will take effect in Ohio that will help make at least one part of caregiving a little easier. Doug Tayek is here to explain this new legislation and how it will impact hundreds of thousands of caregivers here in our home state. Doug is the Associate State Director, Outreach for AARP Ohio. So welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Lori. Always great to be here.
Something that helps caregivers. We are all for that. There's so many caregivers in Ohio, and they sure could use some help.
Right, and that's the reason behind this law. There's about 1.5 million caregivers here in Ohio, and when you add up the time that they give to their family, to their friends, it's about 1.3 billion hours. It's billion with a B, and they do this for free, and they do it because they're a loving family member or friend or just a neighbor. And when you add up all that, when you add up all that time and all that that opportunity, it adds up to about $16.5 billion in free economic benefit to Ohioans across the state who are in need of some sort of care. And we realize that this is a very difficult job. It's a very tough thing to do. And so AARP, we are committed to doing as much as we can to help caregivers in the state.
How will the new law do that?
So the Ohio Caregiving Act is the name of the law. And it recognizes that caregivers play a very critical role in the care and the health care of the person who's being of the patient. And so through this it'll strengthen the ability for caregivers to provide resources, information, and have what's necessary to take care of their loved one. And so the important provisions of it, caregivers are added to the electronic medical record, and so they can access the same information as the patient. The caregiver is notified if a patient has been discharged or is going to be moved in the hospital. And finally, the facility has to work with the caregiver to instruct them on medicine information, any sort of device complications, things of that nature, so that the caregiver really has all the information possible to take care of their family member or their friend.
And all of that is really important, and it wasn't happening before?
No, it was not. Recently, through our research and studies, we found that most patients, so about 70%, do not have any kind of home visit from a clinician or a healthcare professional after they've been discharged from a facility. And also, about 46% of family caregivers end up providing some sort of medical assistance, some sort of nursing or
they're not really trained for.
Right, exactly. It's you and I, and neither of us are caregivers.
Exactly.
We're not medically trained, and so that's who's picking up the slack, and that's who's taking this on. So.
Oh, and that's just really not fair.
Right.
With the caregivers doing all of that, the law is really going to help. It just really makes sense.
Right, and that's exactly why we worked with the Ohio legislature to put this in action. It's a great example of the right stakeholders and the right people coming together to say this is good for Ohioans, and really, it's really crucial, and it's important for us to arm caregivers with the resources that they need. And so, we're very thankful for the legislators who have moved this through, specifically Speaker of the House Cliff Rosenberger, State Representative Sarah LaTourette, and State Senator Peggy Lehner, all who were very key in moving this forward through the House and having it pass unanimously and signed by Governor Kasich. And so it starts March 1st, and we're excited for all of the resources and benefits it will bring to caregivers in Ohio.
All right, very great information. The Ohio Caregiving Act goes into effect March 1st, and with it comes critical information and instruction for the tireless caregivers who are helping their loved ones. My thanks to AARP for their efforts in making this law a reality. My thanks to Doug for joining us today to share this good news.
For more information, call AARP Ohio at 866-389-5653 or click to www.aarp.org/Ohio.